Okay, so now we're going to talk about a little bit more about how Young Living essential oils are made. We kind of talked about the process. Now I'm going to talk about a few of the products. And the reason why I'm going to talk about it is because it takes quite a bit of effort to produce a tiny amount of essential oil. In fact, 60,000 rose blossoms will provide only 1 ounce of rose oil. And the biggest bottle of rose oil that you can order is 5 milliliters. So that's far less than an ounce. Lavender, on the other hand, is what we call abundant. So instead of 60,000, we have 220 pounds that will provide 7 pounds of oil. So that's still quite a huge ratio right there. Jasmine takes 8 million hand-picked blossoms to produce 2.2 pounds of oil. That's huge. Another thing to add about jasmine that just emphasizes that Gary Young will only produce a product with a purpose instead of a product for a profit is that with jasmine, the only time that it has the exact compound makeup that needs to be in our jasmine oil and other oils with jasmine is on the first day that it blooms before the sun gets hot. So on that day, Young Living employees are working quickly to pick those blossoms so that they can get the highest possible effective oil. Sandalwood trees are also pretty interesting because they take quite a bit of time before you can actually harvest them. In fact, it takes about 30 years, and the trees have to be 30 feet tall and about 90% dead before Young Living will harvest them. So our company has been around for a little over 20 years, so Gary Young has really had to go and research these sandalwood farms to be able to find farms that are meeting these circumstances. So it's really kind of incredible how these oils are made and really just how much true powerful plant material ends up in a bottle of rose or a bottle of jasmine or a bottle of sandalwood. So a little will really go a long way. We've talked about a little bit about why Young Living's more expensive than other brands, but you can take heart in knowing that what you're using, you can use a smaller amount of to get a large effect. So most oils that Young Living have are between $10 and $30, and they come in 5 milliliter and 15 milliliter bottles. Some are very abundant, so you'll have them in 15 milliliter bottles, and some are not as abundant, or they're just so expensive that they just get produced in 5 milliliter bottles. Like Rose is like $150 retail, and so obviously you wouldn't want to pay 3 times that for a 15 milliliter bottle. It just wouldn't be feasible. But that's one of those outlying circumstances. Most, like I said, are between $10 and $30. So a 5 milliliter bottle is going to contain about 90 drops, and a 15 milliliter bottle is going to contain about 250 drops. So each application, because these are 100% pure and therapeutic and have so much of that powerful plant compound in them, each application is going to be around 1 to 3 drops. So that means that for a 5 milliliter bottle, you can get anywhere between 45 to 90 applications. So that could last you quite a while. For a 15 milliliter bottle, you could get 83 to 250 applications. Depending on some of the oils I have never even replaced them for as long as I've been with Young Living. Others I use more frequently, so I replace those anywhere between a month to 2 months. Like Thieves and Lavender I use constantly, so I'm buying one of those, it seems like every other month. So just to put that in perspective, Thieves Cleaner is made of plants only, and that costs about that would be expensive, but it costs about $1.50 a bottle to make. So you get a lot of use out of them, but how do I use them safely? Certain oils are photosensitive, so you are going to want to be careful if you go outside with them. That means that the sunlight reacts to them, and so you might be more likely to get a sunburn if you had just applied that oil. So a lot of times those are those citrus oils that we have, like grapefruit and lemon. Bergamot is another one that I know of that will do that. In your product guide that comes with the Young Living starter kit, there is a key where it'll have a little sun beside it, and it'll let you know if it's photosensitive. When you're using on your skin, always watch for redness and dilute with a carrier oil. So sometimes essential oils, even though they're 100% natural, they have some really strong compounds in them, and I talk a lot more about that in the 201 class, but you really want to be careful because they'll feel hot on your skin. For instance, oregano is one of the hottest oils we have, and it's pretty painful even to somebody whose pain, is not very sensitive to pain. So the way that we keep that from burning when we're using them topically is we go ahead and we add a carrier oil like coconut oil or grapeseed. Young Living makes a few of their own. I like to always keep grapeseed and coconut oil on hand for dilution. And this is where I kind of get on a tangent. Please make sure that they are organic carrier oils. And we talk more about why in the 201 class, but oils are powerful and they are going to want to get rid of any chemicals that they come into contact with. And so you're really not getting the full power of the oil if they're sitting there trying to fight a chemical laden carrier oil. So please take the time to go get that organic carrier oil or purchase one that Young Living has. They have the V6 complex, which is just a plain carrier oil. Definitely dilute on children. So if you are, and another thing I like to say with children is make sure that you're using a smaller dose. So for an adult, I may say put 2 or 3 drops of Thieves on your VitaFlex points on your foot for respiratory or something like that. But for a child, I'm going to say put 1 drop because their bodies are smaller and so they don't need as much as we do. And they definitely need that dilution, at least at first. If it doesn't seem to bother them, then by all means, if it doesn't seem to bother you, by all means, you can drop that. But if it is one of those oils they say is hot, or you think it might irritate them, and especially with children, just go ahead and start. Be safe rather than sorry. Go ahead and put a carrier oil on and dilute. And there are different ratios out there that you can use. I am not very mathematical with how I dilute. I usually just take, for myself, 3 drops of an oil and then like a quarter-size scoop of coconut oil, and I call that good for dilution. If you want to get more into detail, you can go ahead and research that. There are plenty of guides out there for how to do it. Make sure that you never put oils near your eyes or any other sensitive part of your body, and definitely do not put them down your ears. Oils are fine to be used internally, but they are going to irritate your eyes, and there's really nothing between your brain and your outer ear except for a thin membrane and a few organs, and so you really don't want to just be throwing oil down in there. You could give yourself an ear infection or just cause a lot of pain and irritation, and so be careful where you're putting them as far as those sensitive areas. And I think I mentioned this earlier, Young Living has a Vitality line, and it has a distinctive white label so that you can recognize which oils are safe to take internally. And that's what we call that GRAS, so generally regarded as safe. There is a lot out there about which oils are better for internal consumption and which are better for topical and which ones are better for inhalation, and there are plenty of books out there where you can go and you can read that information, and our product guide will tell you too which ones are good for dilution or good for topical and ones are good for ingestion or etc. Just do your research on what you would prefer to put in your body. So like I was saying, a carrier oil. This is a fatty oil like olive oil or coconut. Its molecules are a lot larger than the molecules of an essential oil. And so that helps the essential oil go further. And it also slows down the absorption because the essential oil will have to ping pong through those larger molecules to really get into your skin. So that will dilute the effect of some of those hot oils, and it will also elongate the time period that the essential oil is going into your skin, as well as spread out over the area. For instance, sometimes I put Panaway on my husband's shoulders after he comes home from work, and so we always use a carrier oil because it spreads out over a larger area for him. So, going back to thinking about a chemical-free home, look at the ingredient list of the products that are in your bathroom and kitchen. The everyday products that we put on our skin and our body, breathe them in. Many of these products are containing those damaging chemicals. So there's that statistic again. The average woman applies 300 chemicals a day to her body, just through soaps, makeup, shampoo, and hair products. And 80 of those products are applied before breakfast. Young Living oils are simple. They have one ingredient. If it's lemon, there's only lemon in it. If it's oregano, it's only oregano. If it's tangerine, it's only tangerine. That means no additives and no chemical yuck. So that's, once again, reiterating why it's such an important thing to try to add this natural regimen to your everyday life for your family's health and wellness. Feel free, if you have any questions, as always, comment, message me. I am more than happy to answer or listen to any concerns that you may have. Thanks, and tune in tomorrow.